everyone, I'm Shelley and I've been with Usborne since April 2020 and I've been a leader and a group leader for nearly just as long. Before Usborne I was an early years professional for around 18 years or more. I started in nurseries and then when I became a teacher, over that sort of 10-year period of being a teacher, I worked mainly in early years. And I'm also studying a master's degree in early childhood studies. And I absolutely love the aspect of what we do as organisers in terms of working with schools and nurseries, and particularly love our range of books for early years. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the books that we provide, and I think it's really important for you as organisers to have some confidence in the ranges that we've got and to think about how they can be useful for nurseries, so that when you're talking to nurseries to book events and things, you can feel confident that you've got what they need for their settings, and therefore the best way to get those books is through having some events with you. So the most important thing to say is that it's a really lovely aspect of what we do, work with nurseries. It can give you so much job satisfaction, it's very rewarding, and you're also making a huge difference in your community if you work with local nurseries and preschools. Children having access to books is so important, and there are sadly some children who don't have access to books at home. So it's really important that if they go to a nursery, they have access to books. And any books are obviously wonderful, but it is so good to be able to put Usborne books into settings because our books provide so much. There's so much value with them, educational value, but also lots of our books promote emotional and social well-being. And then on top of that, they encourage play, they spark curiosity, and they promote all those lovely things like talk, communication, vocabulary. So they do provide that language rich environment that nurseries want to achieve. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the books that I think are great for nursery settings, and then a top tip for you when you're working with nurseries. So one of the things that I would really stress to you is that actually what we've got with Usborne books is the ability to provide books for settings that have any approach. So all schools and nurseries take on their own ethos and own approach that they'd like to do. Some nurseries are very child-led, very open-ended. They encourage children to have lots of autonomy over their own learning. And then other settings are more a mix of child-led and adult-led. They're quite activity-based. Provision is set up, and things like tough trays and things like that are quite often seen. And actually our books are brilliant because they cater for any approach that a nursery chooses. So things like 199 Things books, here's a few of them to show you, are amazing for settings, because if you've got a nursery that themes their provision, they're great for that, but they're also brilliant to have in an open-ended enabling environment. These books are fab for taking outside as well because they're hardback and on little outings and trips and things. We've also got things like our Peep Insides and Look Insides that sit really lovely in provision, again whether that's open-ended or with little activities or tough trays. Then we've obviously got a huge range of books that really encourage kindness, social skills, talk about families, diversity, our new one behind us, and they're great to have in settings for things like circle times, or just for a practitioner to sit down one-to-one with a child who might be struggling with something. And the other thing that I think is really important about our books, like How Can I Be Kind and other books like that, especially things like diversity, there are quite often in nurseries a range of practitioners who are learning. So people who are training to be practitioners, they might be doing an apprenticeship, or they might be training to be a level 2 or level 3 practitioner, and some of those people will be quite young when they start their venture in terms of their training. And actually some topics like diversity or how to be kind or how to look after ourselves can be quite overwhelming. So to have some really high quality books like ours to sit with a child can really give practitioners confidence in how they talk to children about these different issues. Alongside that, we've got a lovely range for babies and a huge amount of books for sensory experiences. So That's Not My Books, our Don't Tickles. We've got black and white books for babies. We've also got things like our lovely mix and match books, which are fantastic, really playful books. So we've got a huge range. And then we've got books that also provide opportunity to explore children's interests. So if a child's outside and wants to talk about the clouds, we've got things like What Are Clouds that they can explore. Or if a child is absolutely fascinated by dinosaurs, having something which you might think is for an old age group, but having something maybe on a shelf that can't be kind of pulled around like our timeline can be wonderful, because children love to use the real names of dinosaurs and other things that they're really interested in. So that gives you a bit of an overview about all the different types of things we've got. We've also got lovely traditional tales books, picture books. Our traditional tales are written brilliantly because the ones like our baby books, our board books with traditional tales have very friendly endings. So Usborne really think about children, they're very child-centred. So these books are fundamental to have for children in nurseries. Now, my top tip for you would be, if you're working with a nursery and you've done a sponsored event with them, maybe a Ready Steady Listen, think about rebooking that nursery setting for another time. And what I would say is a really great way to have something else booked in with them is to say, obviously talk about the free books, the extra free books, and all the amount of books that they've been able to raise with you, that you've been able to provide, but maybe suggest that if they've had a very generic range of books the first time they work with you, next time you come in, next time you provide a sponsored event for them, or some other events like book fairs and things for them, that with the money raised from events, that they could potentially get a pack of books for a particular purpose. So that could be loads of books about nature and outside learning to kind of support that, or it could be loads of books to support that well-being side of things. So have a think about what you've provided and what could you bring back next time. What area of learning could you provide with your books for a future event so that you can get those booked in. I hope that's helped, and enjoy working with nurseries and putting these lovely books into some very little people's hands.